would ask you all for this change of scope, and that would get us closer to being able to go ahead and start construction of the Access for All addition to the museum that will have an elevator for all 3 floors of the museum. And so what this means is that I'm looking at the award that we got in the fiscal year 2016. The award was for $423,480 for a variety of building projects and inventory, and we have spent $20,217 to date. Over $300,000 of that was for construction of the elevator addition at that time, and we were not able to go forward with it for a number of reasons. One being that the cost escalated, but another that we had a lawsuit brought against us by our butter, and then we went through the lawsuit, and then we went through an appeal. So we were not able to spend those funds, but now I'm asking that the other projects that were going to be done with that be turned over, the money be turned over to the construction project so that we can finish it this year before costs escalate yet again. So I'm asking for the remaining, which is $403,263, to be put toward the elevator construction project. I have listed out what the projects are that we already have spent the money on, and this is the money then remaining for the construction. It does mean that certain things that we had wanted to do, we're not doing. The other part of this is we were also awarded $100,000 for collection care and fire detection improvements in the fiscal year 2019 award. And we will spend, we're already in progress of just finishing up that project of $13,200 on the smoke detector upgrades. So I'm just asking for the remaining money, which was to go to collection care, to now go to the elevator construction project. And that's $86,800. So altogether, it'll be actually, it's about $140,000 toward the project, that over and above what we had already planned. This brings us very close, and we have some other things that we've done in terms of reapportioning some donor funds that were to go, for instance, to the development director. We are now taking some of those funds and going to put it just directly into the construction project. And so we are confident that we can go ahead with this project this year, this fall, once the CPA funds from last year are released. Do you have any questions? Would you like me to elaborate?
So the total funds from the 2 years that you want to transfer to for the construction of the elevator, what's the total? You're taking 403 and then 140, more or less?
No, it's 403,263 from the FY16, and then if you're following on my page, the next one will be 86,800.
86. Okay. And so what's the total construction cost?
Right now, we just got informed that there's a 2% inflation factor. So we are talking about $1,586,949.
And so if this got reappropriated, how much do you have collectively to get this work done?
We will have everything but $30,000.
And does that include the construction contingency, or is that just the cost to pay the cost of construction?
No, that includes, let's see. Well, the the construction company had included a 6% contingency. That remains in here. Then there's the contract. And then there's a whole bunch of additions and subtractions from the contract as we were juggling around prices and trying to come up with, more for less. There's the, originally we had an inflation factor of 1%, and that has, like I say, gone to 2%, so we're not too far off there. And then we have owner issues in terms of mobilization, protection. And then we have all the architect costs, builder's risk insurance, and we have need of supplies for stabilizing the collection prior to their move out of the building. And then we also have a $30,000 cost for moving the collections off-site to Gentle Giant Warehouse in Wilmington and bringing them back. And they're packing them and inventorying them, for manifest as they are packing them. So that's all that's included. We have a wish list of things beyond that, and hopefully we'll be able to raise money for it.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? Does anyone have any questions on the committee?
So I just want to confirm, Judith had forwarded your email from June 18th that given our previous decision to not give emergency funding, the architect and the lawyer on your trustees board didn't feel comfortable with moving forward with construction. But if we were to approve this change of scope, that they would feel comfortable and it would move forward. Is there anything else you would need?
Yes, so as I say, we, well, when I came to you before, I needed 235,000. So now by reworking these various things and asking for this change, we're down to needing 30,000. And that is low enough that, I've spoken to the contractor and he's willing to accept that. We've also brought the development director on board now, and he doesn't think that there will be a problem with raising that. So we'll see. I don't think there'll be a problem either for that. For 30,000, I think, yes, we could do that.
Just to clarify, earlier you said you'd be ready to start construction this fall. And I'm wondering, does that mean you've actually talked to architects or builders or whatever? Just how solid is that?
Yeah, it's very exciting. So I hope you all are as excited as I am.
Yeah,
so, yeah. I know. It's been a long time coming. So, we had bid it out last year. We had, Richard Graff has been with us for many years as our architectural, he's the representative for the owner in anything that we do that's architectural. And then Peter Quinn Associates, which is in, or Land Architects that's in Davis Square, has been the architect since like 2015 on this project. And so we worked through a lot of this with the Somerville Historic Preservation Commission, getting the design right and all of that. So, we've had approval from the Somerville Historic Preservation Commission. We still need to go back to them for a few details now on lighting and things like that for exterior. So there's still there's probably about 2 months of work that is not breaking ground, but it's work. So we still have to pay them for that. And so the earliest that we can start, my understanding is, because of the way that all of the various CPA awards and the Mass Cultural Facility Fund award of 200,000, our donor, we have a 1-to-1 match that has to be matched, but that money can't come in until the end. And then also there's the 10% retainer on the CPA funds. So getting this all together, to figure out, okay, what fund can I use for the first 3 months? What can I use for the next, 2 months? That has been challenging. And so really it's the earliest, in talking with Judith, that we can get the CPA funds from last year is this fall. And so that's September. So we've already talked with Peter and the contractor and everybody else, and everybody's looking forward to starting the project in September. That means that's when we sign the contract and turn over money to the contractor. And we start, basically they're billing us then on a monthly basis thereafter. How soon it'll be after that we actually break ground, I don't know. This is part of the 11 months of construction that they've scheduled. So that first part, which is the mobilization, is the 2 months, and that is in the schedule. So what they're doing right now is to go ahead and try to get the building permit, because everybody has told them that it's like 8 weeks in Somerville to get a building permit. So we're going ahead with a letter of intent with them to be signed like next week or the following. And that will be, you know, we're starting them without the contract, but just to get everything so that as soon as we get the funds, we can go ahead. Does that answer your question? Great.
So, so the funds that you're not, so for the scope of work that you're not going to be using with these funds, are you anticipating coming back to the CPC to have that work completed at a later date?
You all been such good friends. Yes.
Okay.
Some of them are very important. For instance, like when we have the collections out of the building, we want to be able to do deep cleaning.
Barbara, I know this was supposed to be a 5-minute conversation, and we're going on to almost 20 problem. Now. So I'm just trying to keep track of time because the agenda is so full. So, to any committee members, I think we kind of understand the premise and the ask. Let's have a conversation with the committee. Does anyone want to start a discussion on this? Make a motion or not?
I make a motion for us doing this. I mean, it allows us to get, it allows the museum to get the elevator finally going. It clears a big ongoing project off the CPC's decks, and it's money we've already given the museum anyway, so it's not like we're taking out funds that might need to be used by other historical preservation buildings or projects for next year.
I would second that motion.
Okay, does all in favor?
Aye. Laura.
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone
Christina.
that's opposed? Is there anyone that's opposed? No. All right, Barbara.
Thank you all so much. It's very exciting. Hey.
Good luck, and hopefully we'll see some
Yeah.
some progress soon.
Very good.
Yes.
All right, the next item on the agenda is an extension request for CPA project.
Yeah, so we have some projects with expiry dates for last month. So I don't know if Brandon is on.
Arn.
Brandon.
Hello, Judith.
Hi, is Brandon on the call? Okay, we'll move to Anne.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
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 Okay, great. Thank you. Hi. Thank you for letting me talk through my extension request. This is Arn Friends, and I'm a project manager with the Department of Public Space and Urban Forestry. We've had a number of projects in conjunction with the CPA over the years. I think that members are aware that if there's a CPA project on city land, then that private party which may be requesting that project has to have a city partner. And often that's been our Department of Public Space and Urban Forestry. The first extension request that we have, and I have 3, is for the Morris Kelly Butterfly Pollinator Garden. I don't know if people are that familiar with it, but it's just a great space that the project was put forth by Green and Open Somerville, and they put in a huge number of volunteer hours and efforts. And we've been, our department's been working with them on procurement and some of the coordination issues. At this point, most of the funds are spent. There's a few $1,000s left. We only have a few remaining items to take care of, primarily signage and a fence to go around the edge of the garden. We know that the 3-year window for these funds is closing, and we wanted to put in this extension request to make sure we had time to expend that balance on the remaining items. So that was my first request, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Do you have a schedule of when the signage and the fencing is to be completed?
I don't have it. I have an account set up with a signage company to provide the signage, but we have a little bit of coordination to do beforehand in terms of going back and forth with Green and Open Somerville on the layout of the signage and exactly what's going to be included. So that's going to take a little bit of work. We purchased some of the fence materials, but then both COVID and create a little problem in terms of getting access to the rest of them. So I would guesstimate that we would have this wrapped up within 1 year. But to be safe, I put in my request for 3 years in case there's some unforeseen issue that comes up, or if there's some opportunity that comes up to make some other small amendment to the design or whatever we incorporate. If you people haven't been by the site recently, we just added 2 marvelous tile mosaic benches to the space last weekend. They look like tree stumps with a wonderful tile mosaic design over them. So it'd be worth stopping by to look at.
Great. Do you want to give all your? Do we want to do these one by one? And how many requests do you have? I'm sorry.
I have 3.
3. Okay. So probably we should do these one by one.
Yeah, I think so. Otherwise it gets confusing.
Does anyone have any questions, any additional questions on this, the butterfly garden extension?
No.
Okay, I would make a motion that we approve the extension.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. I just walked by it today and it looks beautiful.
Oh, cool.
Great, thank you.
All right, so that's
All
been
right.
approved. So second. Oh,
Yep.
you want to continue on?
Yes, and just one of the other projects. These are projects that were funded in FY17, right? So we have 3 projects which will reaching their 3-year terminus from that time. So one of the others is the design of the Healy Schoolyard, which is a great project. There's been a lot of time and energy that's gone into that. If anybody is curious, you can go to the city website that talks about the Healy Schoolyard. There's probably been over 12 to 15 different combination of community meetings and other public meetings talking about that design. And the plans are done. We can go out to bid when the city has that appetite to do so. But because of the COVID crisis, that project has been postponed until a more appropriate time. So the project is going forward, but because a portion of the funds, of those design funds, includes construction administration costs, which would be the cost for the landscape architect to go out to weekly site meetings and monitor the construction, I wanted to extend this request because that portion of the funds may not be spent for another year or 2 to be determined. So I was putting my request in for, again, another 3 years. Right.
Okay. And when are you planning on going out to bid?
I can't say. I don't have a date. The city doesn't have a date on that. I have, we're hopeful to get it going, sometime in next year, but it is absolutely an unknown at this time.
That's largely because of COVID, probably. Like it's so vague.
It's a $6.5 million project, so it comes with quite a price tag. So we want to make sure that the funding for that is not an issue, in terms of the larger city budget and all of the expenditures that the city is faced with right now. So it's a part of a much larger puzzle.
Yeah.
Does that,
I would make a motion to approve the extension. It's just really for the construction observation services, and I don't see a problem with extending this one.
Yeah, I'll second.
Tatiana, seconds, okay. It might be helpful when if you make a motion or you second it, just to state your name, so it's easier to keep track.
Of course, my bad. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
Sorry, can you
And
vote,
the last
please?
one?
Are you waiting to vote on all of them after, or can you vote now?
I think we're taking votes individually.
Right. So this is the third one. This is my third and last extension request. One of the other projects that was approved in 17 was an award to the City of Somerville Veterans Services Department. And so I'm putting this request in on behalf of Veteran Services. Veteran Services request in 17 was for funding to develop the renovation plans for the Henry Hansen Park, which is a small park in honor of Henry Hansen, who was one of the Marines who was at Iwo Jima. And so this park was to honor Henry Hansen and other Somerville veterans in all the forces. It was a great project. It went forward with a lot of energy. The director of Veteran Services at the time was Brian Bishop. He hired CBA landscape architects. They developed the designs. They went through the community process. There was at least 3 community meetings to come up with the final schematic design for the park. At that time, Brian accepted a position with the city of Boston. The city didn't replace that position until this spring. And the new director of Veteran Services has been working. We've had a couple of conversations with them. My department has had a couple of conversations with them, and we've determined that we want to move the project forward, but we don't have a schedule for that yet. There's just like a general agreement that this is a good project. It will be coordinated through Veteran Services, and then our department, Public Space and Urban Forestry, will continue to provide assistance. So in that regard, I think because I'm more familiar with the project, I wanted to submit this extension request.
Thank you, Arn.
Thanks, Ted. There you are. I didn't see you.
Okay, great. Does anyone have a discussion on this request or make a motion to approve? No.
So the budget is for design service, or is for the renovation itself? What?
The budget was for design services. At this point, the design.
Where will the money come from for construction once it's designed?
Through the chair, Heather, that's to be determined. Like many projects, we want to make sure we get a good design first. That design will include a construction cost estimate, so we'll have a better sense of where that's going to come in. At this point, again, we're at the schematic design we sort of completed the schematic design. There are still several details to be worked out, and the construction plans, while started, need to be completed before it could go out to bid. So there's a couple of questions that we have to resolve both internally and with CBA landscape architects, but we need this extension to continue to have those funds available so we can do that.
And I imagine, as with the other project, it's all very open-ended and vague right now, right? Because so much is on hold.
I think that's a generally accurate assumption. We don't have a schedule yet. You know, one of the factors is that while we're working with Head and Veteran Services, there's a lot of projects that are within the city's list of park and open space projects and other projects that have to be acknowledged as well. So trying to determine where this one fits into that larger schedule is again part of the puzzle. Yeah. There is clearly a will on the part of the city to see this project through fruition, but I don't have a schedule for it at this time.
Right. Okay. I would make a motion. Are you still
going to work? I'm sorry. Are you still working with the CBA landscape architects? Are you going to continue to work with them?
Yes, yes, we absolutely would. Been very happy with them as landscape architects. So that's obviously that's more of a call that Veteran Services would be able to answer, but I don't see any reason that there would be a change.
If there's no other questions, I would make a motion to approve the extension. This is Laura, sorry.
Is there a second?
This is Heather, I'll second that.
All right.
Jen, can you please vote?
I'm sorry,
what?
Is everyone in favor of the project extension?
Yes. This is Tatiana, yes.
Yes, this is Christina.
Laura.
Yes.
So all the committee members are voting in favor of this motion. Is anyone opposed? There's no one opposed. So the motion passes, and the other two motions have passed as well.
Thank you very much. Can I just take one more minute? I didn't have a chance to introduce Ted. I didn't see him initially. Ted, do you want to take a second and introduce yourself?
Hi guys, thank you again. Thank you for all your work on the CPC committee, and thank you for approving the extension of this project. Thank you, appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you, and nice meeting you, and good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
The last request is from Brandon. I don't know if I know she's online. Okay.
This is Tatiana. If Brandon isn't available, I'm not on the Historic Preservation Commission, Somerville Historic, but I did work on the actual Milk Grove Cemetery project with Barbara Mangum, so I have a rough idea at least of what the situation is if you guys need additional information.
I just want to say Brandon's here. Brandon's here and in the meeting, but her volume is not working, so we can't hear her. But I can see she's trying to connect.
Can she dial in?
No.
No.
There should be a dial-in option. I can try to send her a message on the chat.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Do you want to give the dial-in phone number on the chat?
Oh, she's got the phone to her ear.
Judith, do you have that on you? Could you?
I just sent it to her.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, Brandon.
Oh, okay. So, let's keep this simple. I don't know why I use Zoom all the time, but I have to admit I don't use GoToMeeting very often. So, I have no idea why I can hear all of you, see all of you, but you can't hear me. So, any case, very simply, this is for the Milk Row Cemetery, which is a historic cemetery in Somerville Avenue, and this is part of a master plan that we started in 2002. I've received, thankfully, and very generously, money from the CPC in the past to do conservation work on the monument as well as the headstones and footstones. So this is a very simple request that we just discovered this spring, which is the contract that we have to finish using the very small amount of contingency funds of $1,700.41, expired as of May 20th. So I would just like a 3-month, not 3 year, just a 3-month extension in order for one last fragment that is stored in the shed to be repaired and conserved. And it would happen hopefully this summer, either in August or September, depending upon the weather and the conservator's time schedule, getting a permit. So if anybody has any further questions, I can certainly answer them, but that was to keep it simple.
Yeah, sorry, Brandon, did you say you needed a 3-month extension?
I did.
I think we may need more than that because of the whole process of getting extensions for projects, because it has to go through the CPC and then through the city council. I am not sure if you're really certain that you'll be able to do this in 3 months.
Okay, that's news to me. The last time that I talked to purchasing, which was pre-COVID, was that they thought this was a very simple thing to do if it was necessary. And so I was under the impression that I could go forward as long as I now came before your committee in order to get the extension of time on the contract. If that's in error and something has changed, then by all means I should extend that further. I would like to do it during the construction season, which would be during the warmer months, which means by the end of November, I guess. But if we're, as a planner, I guess maybe I should ask for a year just in case that something else is going to get delayed this fall. But the intent was clearly to do this fairly quickly, and that's all I was asking for, since it just expired.
Hey, Brandon. Hi, Brandon. This is Tatiana. So I don't know about the construction timeframe, but I think asking for a year might be safe just because we also don't know, God forbid, COVID might ramp up again and new
Correct.
restrictions or old restrictions might be put back in place. So given that uncertainty, a year might just be the safe bet.
Okay, I will certainly not argue the point since I have no better idea what's going to happen this fall than anyone else. So please, thank you. I will now amend my request from 3 months to, well, maybe I should say October of 2021. It's only for still the same amount of money, though, the $1,741.
Okay. Does someone want to make a motion to approve this request as amended for till October 2021?
Sure, I can do that. This is Laura. I'll make a motion to approve the amended request extending the Milk Row Cemetery extension to October 2021.
Thank you very much. That's exactly what I would need.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
And this is,
Tatiana, do you want a second?
Oh, sure. I'm sorry. I thought somebody had already. Yeah, Tatiana, I second. I'm good.
I think 2 people were going at the same time, so I don't know who got there first.
All right. Well,
All right.
as long as we all get there in the end.
All in favor?
Aye, Laura.
Hi. Tatiana.
Is there anyone opposed? No. Great. All right. So that
Thank you.
been, the motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Hopefully I'll accomplish it sooner than that, but I appreciate the input. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. The next item on the agenda, I mean, we're moving as fast as we can here, but it seems like we're behind a little because there's a lot to cover on the agenda. So the approval of the FY20 annual report. Do you want to go through this quickly, Judith?
Yes, thank you so much. So I shared with you this report. It has an introduction, the CPA background, the Community Preservation Committee, the Community Preservation Plan, the FY20 funding, the FY20 funding requests, the FY20 application process, the FY20 affordable housing funding, and ongoing project updates, the CPA results, program improvements, and looking ahead. I'm sure most of you have read through. If you have any questions, I'm sure the introduction and background is very clear. If you have any questions on the FY funding, let me know. So there are two tables that were presented, and these were discussed mostly with the previous members. But this is a budget that was approved during the November meeting, the budget fixing. So this table shows the allocations to date through FY. This was through April this year. And then the next page shows the process. We also have a list of the requests that we received for FY20 funding. So we had a total of about 7 requests for the open space and historic resources. And for the affordable housing, Heidi did a very good job here. I think she did give an update on that. So we also have in the report the whole process, the application process, and we have also an update again on the ongoing projects. We also have a summary of the CPA funding allocations. We show the allocations with bonding, and we also show the allocations without bonding. And we also have a list of completed projects, which are about over 20 projects since the CPA program started. And we still have a number of projects that are incomplete, that are ongoing, which are over 40. So if anyone has a question on the completed projects, please let me know. So these are some of the ongoing projects, most of which we've been receiving updates on during our meetings. So Heidi gave us a really good updates on the affordable housing. So we also have a section on the CPA results, and I'll just briefly go through this. All these projects are located in the 7 wards. And so far we have 10 historic buildings that are being preserved. We have 5 historic buildings and 1 collection that are being made more accessible to all Summerville residents. We have 3 historic collections that are being preserved. We have 9 parks and playgrounds that are being improved. We have 19 new affordable housing units that are being created, 2 transit-oriented affordable housing developments that are being built. We have 32 households that are receiving rental assistance. I shared with you results of the survey for FY20. So since FY16, the CPA program has surveyed applicants and implementers about their experience with the CPA program, and on average, 95 of the implementers and 94% of the applicants found the support of the CPA manager to be useful. 45% of the applicants found that the application process to be fairly easy, and 60 found it to be very transparent. 59% of the funded projects would not have gone forward without the CPA funding, and 88% of the organizations implementing the CPA project benefited from being part of the CPA beyond receiving the funding. So for program improvements, there have been a number of them, and one of them that the CPA really was looking forward to was the multimedia package, which really aimed at increasing visibility of the CPA program and also demonstrate how the program is improving the daily life for the Somerville residents. And we are happy that we have the summer youth that are already going to start on this. We did also have a number of community engagements, some of which the CPA members did participate in. And for the voting for 2019, we got about 308 respondents. And looking ahead, we are hopeful that the minimums that have been set in the FY21 budgets will increase. So we have about 1.6 million that's available for the FY21 budget, and we see still a decrease in the minimum for the state match. It's down to 11.2% from the 33% that was earlier estimated, and this is all because of the COVID situation. But we are hopeful that these figures will increase. So we also present the projected FY21 CPA funding that the committee approved, and also the City Council. So thank you so much. Let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Judith. I think folks have gone through this a few times in our discussions, and it's a lot to digest, but I think we're familiar with it. Mm-hmm. Does anyone have any additional questions, though? Mm-mm. So if there are no questions, does someone want to make a motion to approve the annual report FY20?
This is Heather. I can make a motion to approve the annual report.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. That's Laura.
That's Laura. Okay, great. The next item on the agenda is the Powder House School Park renovation, just an update on the status. And this is an email that I'm having a hard time reading because the print is small. But Judith, do you want to? It looks like this is a landscaping site schedule. So it looks like in July they're doing the subgrade inspection, planting soil through beginning of August, paving the end of August, completion date of August 21st, subject to Eversource electrical connections. which if anyone has ever worked with Eversource, we know how long that could take. Parks are not open without lighting and irrigation.
Through the chair, this was the most recent update we got from the project team's project manager, and so yes, we are hopeful that this wraps up around late August. And yes, Eversource is a big subject too, but you know, we're hopeful that we'll stick relatively close to the schedule and at least finish it within the early fall timeframe.
Okay.
Great. Well,
I don't know if my
exciting.
microphone is on, but this is the project manager.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure of the permissions. But yeah, I'm here if there are any questions, but I hope the email was fairly self-explanatory. But I spoke with the general contractor this morning, who said that the schedule remains up to date. And I provided this same update to the city, to the economic development team and the parks team last week. And yeah, we're running just about right about on the projected budget. And you know, we won't know exactly until we close it out, but right now that's looking pretty good. And yeah, that's pretty much it, but I'm happy to take any questions if people have questions.
No, that's pretty clear. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes. Good luck. We look forward to the dedication.
Yes.
Thank you for the update.
You're very welcome. We look forward to it too.
And good luck with Eversource.
Yeah, really.
Yep. Every day is a new adventure with them.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is the approval of the FY21 eligibility determination form. And Judith,
Thank you.
you're good.
Through the chair, just want to mention one thing that Judith brought to my attention. I know she had emailed you. This is the summary spreadsheet that you're looking at here. I know she had emailed the committee all of the individual eligibility forms in advance. There was one, unfortunately, that was slipped into the junk mailbox in the city. The timestamp of the timestamp of the email was within date of the eligibility period. So Judith asked if when we get through all of them, if that last one, she could just share virtually over the screen. It's for the Somerville Central Library for the restoration of their, I believe it's called their bas relief. But we are prepared
finally
to share that virtually. And again, it was just a digital error, went to the junk mailbox, but we checked the timestamp and it was in date.
Okay. So that's not going to be included. I'm sorry. I was reading the other projects.
No, but we're prepared to share that virtually at the end when the committee's done reviewing the ones that are before you now.
Okay, great. So we'll go through each of these. Judith, if you want to walk us through them?
Yeah, I could. Alan, would you like me to walk through?
Yeah, I think it's we can either read the summary or perhaps just bring up if we can the individual eligibility form on the screen.
I just want to say one thing on the Broadway House. CASCAP is a nonprofit organization that has properties in Cambridge, Somerville mostly, and I'm on the board of that agency, so I'll recuse myself when there's a discussion on that, but I can obviously talk a little bit about the project and the property to let folks know more about it.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, so this process is coming over into my shop in OSPCD from Ms. Stelgis, so I'm kind of getting familiar with the organization of these meetings. So in the case that you recuse yourself, is there a backup chair, or will you turn the meeting over to someone?
Laura's the vice chair, so she can take over the discussion for this if there are any questions. But I mean, in the past, like when Louisa was talking about projects at the city, Louisa is on the committee, but she would talk about projects that she was familiar with from the city, and then, you know, not vote on that project. So I would do the same.
Thank you.
And just a question on this, since this is the first time I've done this, are we voting on this? What's the process of this right now, or is this simply informational that we're getting the eligibility forms?
Yeah, so for this process, you're voting on the eligibility, and the ones that you approve will move to the next stage of submitting a full proposal.
Thank you.
So I'm hearing a lot of background noise. Okay.
So I think maybe Judith to move to the first form, the Broadway Cascade, and then I guess turn it over to the vice chair or Ms. Carbone if you want to lead the discussion and then recuse yourself.
Sure, I can talk about it. So this is again, CASCAP is a nonprofit organization. The executive director recently retired, and that the portfolio is now managed by the organization that I work for. And this development is in an historic building and on Broadway in Cambridge. And CASCAP, their basic premise is to find housing for the most vulnerable population. So they started in the 70s and 80s, during the time that all the state mental facilities was closing. Families and individuals were dispersed through different communities, and so a lot of those individuals ended up in homes like this. So this is a shared living space and for occupants that are, again, some have mental health issues, some have disabilities, some are formerly homeless, and they're the most vulnerable population. So CASCAP provides services to them, and the property is managed now by an independent management company. And there has been some deferred maintenance over the years. Their cash flow was never really very significant, and obviously rents are at an affordable level here, so they didn't have adequate reserves, and so they're looking to do some capital plans to, even though they haven't had adequate reserves. I mean, the buildings are in moderately good shape, so I think here they're trying to do some more exterior repairs to bring back some of the character of the property.
So I wanted to add that Mashina has been in contact with us even before submitting this form, and we did take her through the requirements, because for historic buildings they need a restriction on them placed on them. So she's aware, and she said that they are happy to do that. So I just wanted also to mention that yeah, she's been in touch with the city, and she's aware of the preservation restriction.
Correct.
And so this is a solely historic preservation funds. It wouldn't also be like a hybrid with affordable housing?
So for this particular project, it would not be a hybrid because affordable housing funds can only support projects that they have funded. So in this case, they would not receive any money from affordable housing because the funds that created it were not for CPA, were not from CPA program.
Judith, correct me if I'm wrong. I also believe that if they were to apply for any housing related funds, they would do that through the trust process, the housing trust process.
Yes, they would do that. But in this particular case, because they had also wanted funds to renovate the interior, and we had a meeting with Heidi and Sarah White. So she was advised that she cannot even apply for those affordable housing funds because they did not create the facility.
I find it interesting because sometimes we get in a quandary with preservation funds going towards homes, but that it's a little different here because it's serving a larger community and it's fairly prominent. Isn't this like on the top of Broadway, right as you reach the top of the hill? No, it's further down.
It's further down, yeah.
But
Very attractive.
Yeah.
This is Caitlin.
If we're looking at its eligibility, should they continue the next round of doing I'm just kind of reiterating what we're doing right now. We're looking at the eligibility and saying whether or not this is a application we feel should be continued into a full funding round.
Yes.
Yeah, whether it even meets the minimum criteria to go forward with a full application.
And so if they put the preservation restriction on it, it seems that it would meet the full criteria.
Yes.
So do we vote on these, or do we just determine whether or not they are complete?
So you have to vote on it. Yeah.
We have to make a motion to move this forward, to approve this. It's a preliminary application. And take a vote. So I'll do that. I'll make a motion to move this forward.
Hi, this is Tatiana. I'll second that motion. Or do we need to second? I can't remember.
So do you want to say all in favor?
All in favor? Me? I'll say it.
Yes.
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 Yes. Anybody opposed?
Tatiana.
I'm just going to say I'm recusing myself.
Right. Okay. No one opposed. So the motion carries.
Okay.
So the next item on the agenda is the collection at the Selma Museum. So
I'm sorry, did we skip the Elizabeth Peabody House?
Oh, yeah, that was the second one.
I think it's in a different order than it is on the table. I'm not sure.
Oh, there it is.
I'm sorry, I was going by the table. I'm sorry.
So this is exterior siding and trim repairs at the Elizabeth Peabody House on Broadway.
Okay.
And they have a preservation restriction already, don't they?
Yes, so there's one, yeah, that is being developed.
It says that it's for vinyl siding repair. I think I read that earlier. Is there vinyl siding and not wood siding? Judith, can you make it larger? Is anybody having trouble reading it? Oh, there we go.
Okay.
So I think in 2000, in FY 19, I think the CPA provided funding for a comprehensive building assessment plan, and part of what was required, I think, was to repair, I think, the building's vinyl siding, and also restore the exterior wood trim and make additional repairs to the wooden thing.
Yeah, I think in the past, I mean, they hired an architect to do a capital needs assessment, and the first item was the roof that had to be repaired because it leaked, and then we gave them money for the fire alarm, to upgrade the fire alarm system. And so now they're asking for, and that was postponed, and now they're asking for funds to do the exterior wood trim, vinyl siding. But I think we have to be careful too, because I don't think we can use funds for repairs, maintenance and repairs. So, I mean,
I also wonder about the vinyl siding of it part. If it's historic preservation funds, that doesn't seem to be properly aligned. So I kind of feel like this application's not. It's more of a repair. It's more of a deferred maintenance repair. It's not exactly preservation.
Can we suggest to amend?
I've put up this table, the one that shows funding for allowable uses. So under historic, so it can be used for rehabilitation and restoration.
Can you make that bigger? It's hard to see.
So can you see it now?
Yeah. Well, I think if they're doing capital repairs, I think I agree with Heather. I mean, I would say amend this application to not include any vinyl siding repairs, because that's really not historic. And there are some other historical elements to this building that probably need repair.
Yeah, I mean, hi, this is Tatiana. Sorry. Yeah. Part of the problem is they've only, it's only 2 or 3 sentences. I think it's very possible that maybe they mainly are focusing on the historic wooden elements, but it's very unclear because there's just not enough detail to have a full understanding of what they want to use CPC funds for precisely. Yeah, that being said, Tatiana here, I think the suggestion to have the application amended somehow to give more detail is a good one.
This is Caitlin, and I would agree it's kind of tricky to tell where to draw the line between restoration and maintenance. I had a somewhat similar question for Broadway House, but it seems like that's a larger restoration undertaking, so it seems a little bit more clear in their application than in this application.
Given the existence of the property condition report that was recently completed, I assume that there's a next tier. There's a lot of work that needs to be done on this building, and I assume that even if the vinyl siding is beyond the scope, that there's additional scope that is desired that we would find within the purview of the CPC that just isn't reflected in this initial application. So I'm not sure how we're supposed to handle requests for amending something in that way, but I assume that we're looking at items like 2 through 4 of a list of 10.
Hi, again, I'm not sure. I'd have to check with either Judith or possibly Kristen, although that wouldn't help for this meeting. But I do believe that there would be another opportunity to go through in further detail if they go forward with a full application. Because I think it most likely is clear that vinyl would not be consistent with any historic restoration aspects of the project. But, you know, again, this would have to go through our historic preservation planners, and this would also be brought forth again to the committee in a full application form.
Does anyone want to make the motion to approve this to go to the next step with more information required and exclude vinyl siding?
Hi, this is Tatiana. Sorry.
Sorry.
You go ahead.
This is Amelia. I move to move this application ahead with some amendments.
Okay, do we want to define what the amendments are? So we're saying no vinyl siding and more specific information on historical components of the property restoration of?
Hi, this is Tatiana. Yeah, I agree. If they could be more specific about like what exactly they're looking at in terms of historical elements to the exterior that they want to focus on. The nice thing about the Broadway application is they gave a couple of very specific examples, so there's a clearer idea of what was being targeted or looked at. Yeah. So yes, I move to specifically mention those amendments to please be more specific in the historic elements they want to target for restoration.
Well, I think Amelia had the motion. Do you want to second her motion with the amendment?
Oh, I'm sorry, I got confused. I thought she was motioning that we move forwards, and then somebody said, do we also have to separately motion for amendments? But yeah, I will second the motion. I just misunderstood.
I guess I don't want to add confusion. I guess your motion is to clarify the amendment.
Yes,
well, can you second? You're seconding it to clarify it with amendment.
Yes, I am seconding Amelia's, if it hasn't already been seconded and I've just lost my mind. Anyway, yeah.
Okay, and is it Judith who would deliver that information at this point?
Yes.
So Elizabeth, be ready? Okay,
yes,
great.
Yes, I will communicate. Yeah.
Okay, great.
So the Somerville Museum is submitting an application for funding for their collection.
Well, if they're requesting funding for what we had already approved before, I would say it's eligible, unless there's something new that they're asking for.
I second that. Heather.
And I'll make that an official motion to approve. Christina.
Okay.
So we're going through them. Is it all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? No one opposing? And this is Selma Hispanic Association for Community Development. And they are requesting funds. I'm sorry, can you make it bigger? I'm squinting.
So just a tip, I think you can actually zoom in and out on Judith's screen, the little toolbar on there. I found that handy earlier. I just discovered that.
Okay.
Oh, yes, thank you. Appreciate that. So is there a discussion here? It looks like there's additional restoration requirements here on this building, which we have funded in the past.
So this building, since it's been funded in the past, it's safe to assume it has a restrictive preservation easement?
Judith, do you know if they have the covenant?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I think the question was, do we know if the Grace Baptist Church has an existing preservation restriction?
Oh yeah, so most of these historic projects, the restrictions have been undergoing review. So yeah, it's still under review, but near complete.
All right, so I mean, I think they've been with us before, so I would say that they continue to be eligible, and depending on the more detailed application, we can review it. Is there a motion to move this to the next step?
Hi, this is Tatiana. I'll move it to next step.
Amelia seconded.
The church bell tower.
So are you all in favor?
Oh, is everyone in favor?
Yeah.
Yes. Aye. Anyone opposed? No one opposed? Thank you, Judith.
Thank you.
The next one is the Broadway Winter Hill Congregational Church bell tower. for restoration of the bell tower.
Okay.
Is there a preservation restriction on this?
No.
Or have they come through before to us, to the CPC?
I'm not very sure, but I don't think so.
Hi, this is Tatiana. I might be wrong because I can't remember the name of the church, but there was a church that came to us with a bell tower project. They had what they believed were some bells forged by Paul Revere's company. They were looking to conserve, to restore the bell tower, not the bells, but I remembered it because of that. They withdrew before they had to submit the more full application, the fuller application. They wanted, I think, to give it a little more time before they went before us. If it's the same people, that's about as far as they got, I think.
Thank you.
Good memory.
Paul Revere's bells, I'm going to remember that.
Well, I would move that to accept it, provided that they understand that we would be asking them to put a historic covenant on the building.
Yeah, let's second that.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye. In favor, not against.
I'm sorry, Tatiana, what did you say?
I am in favor, not against. I think I just said aye after you said anybody against. So
Okay.
I was like,
oh, okay.
Sorry.
I spoke too quick. So there's no opposition to this application. Great. The Healy School tot lot renovation?
I believe if Mr. Arne Franzen is still with us, if he can, might want to share his thoughts real quickly. Save us the time of reading it.
Everybody, thank you very much for considering this proposal. This is the eligibility determination form for the Healy School tot lot. It's a part of the larger Healy schoolyard renovation. It was a focus of the initial focus of the Healy school community and an important part of the design. But as we said earlier, when we have a project that's being proposed for city land, and this project is being proposed by the Friends of the Healy, they need to have a city partner. So again, in this case, again, the proposal is being put forward by the Friends of the Healy, which is the Healy School, I guess, the Friends group, for lack of a better term, and Public Space Urban Forestry is the city partner on the project. I'd be happy to discuss, any questions. As I said, the focus on the tot lot was one of the initial parts of the renovation plan. It expanded to a much larger scope of work, but even the questions about the larger Healy schoolyard project and the desire among community members to push this piece of it forward, Friends of the Healy wanted to put in a separate funding application for this piece to ensure that it in fact happened. I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody has. As I said, the city has to be a partner on the project. So it is, the letter that goes with this application is from me stating that, yes, we support the project. The city is a property owner. And if you read the application and the letter, we also have the support of the principal, the city's school department, school administration, etc. So there's a wide base of support for this. And again, this is the eligibility determination form. So This is just showing you that, yes, we meet those requirements of the CPA.
Okay.
This is Heather. I vote to move this proposal forward. This eligibility.
This is Laura. I would second it.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Tatiana, you're in favor.
I'm in favor. I keep chiming in too late. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
My timing's
No
terrible.
worries. Great. So that was approved. Thank you, Arn, for staying on for this.
If you'd like, I can, Jane, through the chair.
And you're
I'd be happy to talk about this one as well.
Okay.
Obviously, you know that Louisa is on the committee. If she were, I'm not sure that she would be able to discuss it in any case, but this is the eligibility determination form for the land acquisition fund. The CPC has funded the land acquisition fund in the past. There's been, I think, numerous proposals over the years, and different pots of money have been put forward. And I think that those funds have been then used for the acquisition of different properties in the city. I'm not sure what the balance is of the land acquisition fund right now. I think that it's been expended. So this is this year's request for additional funding for the land acquisition fund. And I think that this meets all the CPC's goals as well, which I think is one of the stated goals of acquiring public open space.
Is there a motion to move this to the next step in the application process?
Hi, this is Tatiana. I move it forward.
This is
Or
Amelia.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Christina.
Aye. Yes.
Great, thank you.
Any opposed?
Judith, do you wanna bring up the last central library?
Quick question. Did we do the Somerville Museum collections care thing and I've just totally spaced on it, or do we have both to do?
I think we did that one.
Yeah, we did that.
Okay, I'm just having a brain dead moment then. Never mind me.
No, we did the same thing. I think it was slightly out of order, which may have caused some confusion. But.
All right, yeah. Okay, cool. Then let's talk about Central Library. Woohoo! They've got a good cool bas relief. And I need caffeine so bad.
Yeah, so maybe I just wanted to say that this project was funded in FY19, but I think it was over budget. So they would like request for additional funding of about 2,500. So it's an ongoing project.
Okay.
Okay. I remember when we funded this. So it's over budget and they're seeking additional funds. So I would think that this does qualify and should be. Does someone want to make a motion to move this to the next phase of the process, application process?
Sure, I will. This is Laura. And make a motion to push this forward.
And Christina, I second. Christina, I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And anyone opposed? No. Great. A lot of good projects.
Yeah.
Is that it for the project?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
Right, so we've gone through that item. Moving forward, the project for the eligibility determination form to take the next step in the full application. The next item on the agenda is results from the FY20 applicants and implementers surveys.
Yes. I wanted to share with you the results of the application, the applicant survey. So we received 3 responses, I believe, out of about 6. So which makes it about 50%. I don't know whether you'd like me to go through or whether you did have an opportunity to look at them, but these are the responses.
So these are the responses. These are the responses that you asked when people applied, what they thought of the application process.
Sorry. So each year we ask, we do put out surveys, 2 separate surveys. One is for the applicants and the other is for the implementers, and then we get feedback on their experience with the CPA process. So for this year, for the applicant survey, we received 3 responses, and so these are the results. We ask questions like, how clear were the requirements for the application, and 33% said they were very clear, and 67% said they were fairly clear. We also ask questions like, how can we improve the clarity of the application process? And so we have some of those responses there, like asking Q&A appointments, and some say they were a little bit confused with some of the forms. So whatever information we get from these surveys, we try to improve in the next application process. So we also ask how easy or difficult the application process was, and then determine how to help the applicants. We also ask them, their recommendations for increasing the ease of applications. So all this feedback that we get is very helpful in helping us improve our processes, and also, helping the project managers, manage their projects better. So this was for the applicants, and I don't know if you have any questions. We also ask questions around transparency of the application process. So one of them said that they needed to be clear about budget expectations and what projects would likely be funded. And someone said it was a very transparent and open process. We also asked them how much time they spend on the application process. We also asked them how they heard about the application process so that we can improve on our publicity.
Judith, can you go back so that we see how much time people spent on the application process?
Sorry?
I didn't see how much time people spent on the application process. What was the percent?
That chart right there. Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah.
You blow it up.
Yeah. So, about a third said they spent more than 20 hours. Another third said they spent between 15 and 20 hours. And then we have a third that said they spent between 5 and 10 hours. So this shows you that for some, the process is maybe clear. For these that spend more than 20 hours, usually it's like their first time that they are applying for these funds. And those that are regular applicants normally take maybe 5 to 10 hours.
There's also only 3 responses, so 3 people. It
right.
took 3 different people, 3 amounts of time to do it.
I know. Interesting. All right, thank you.
So we also want to know, the frequency with the interaction with the CPA manager while developing the application process. And some, interact with I believe 1 interacted on a weekly basis, and then 2 said 1 to 3 times. And the formats of the interaction, mostly email. All of them said email, but 2 had in-person meetings and also phone interactions. And they asked how useful was the support of the CPA manager, and they all said it was very useful. And another question was how can the CPA manager increase the usefulness of the support provided, answer questions, address concern, troubleshoot, and being accessible for applicants. And then as a whole, they also do evaluate the CPC, like as a whole, how knowledgeable did you find the CPC new project area? And all of them said the CPC was very knowledgeable. And we also asked for feedback to share with the CPC. We didn't have any feedback. And additional feedback on the overall program, they say it's a good program. They say they are grateful for the partnership with the city. And they say, were you invited to submit a full proposal or application? They all said yes. And asked if the CPC recommended funding for the projects. They answered yes. And we asked the kind of organizations they represent. So one of them is from the city department and 2 are community organizations. So that's the kind of feedback we received from the application. And then for the implementers, so we received 7 responses. There are about also 14 project managers. So again, we ask similar questions of experience, how appropriate were the funding conditions based on your project by the CPC, and 57% said very appropriate. And we just had about 14% say somewhat appropriate, and 28% saying fairly appropriate. And then feedback on the funding condition. One said the answer is too long, they will send it separately. Other was requiring more financial planning for the part of the application process. Might be helpful to provide groups in their decision process as they move forward. And then the clarity on the reporting requirements. 57% said it was fairly clear. 14 said very clear, and 28 said in between. And we asked how we could improve the clarity, and one said the process has not begun, so they are not sure if it's clear or not at this point. And one said that they found working through the report with the CPA manager is the best way to complete the report correctly. And the other said the process is fine. And we also asked how easy or difficult it was to access funds for the project. 14% said very clear, and then the other 42% fairly clear and in between. And we also asked how we could increase the ease of accessing funds. Again, one said they had not begun. The other said they would submit their answer separately. And the other said in the case of projects that require city partnership, the work and time required for the POs, these are purchase orders and procurement, should be made clear so that applicants understand that the product shopping is kept to a minimum, and clarification of budgets, design, and material selection should be more definition early, should have more definition early. So we also asked how helpful was the reporting process in informing the CPC about their projects. 28% said very helpful, 28% said in between, and 42% said fairly helpful. And then we asked how much time they spent in total reporting on the project during the year. And 28% said less than 5 hours. 42% said between 5 and 10 hours. 14 said 10 and 15 hours. And 14% said 15 to 20 hours. And we also asked a question whether they had included recognition of CPA funding on the organizational website, and the majority said they had. And they asked if they have any feedback on how to improve the CPA process. They said, thank you for your help throughout these challenging times, especially chasing down our missing check. The CPC should be willing to ask applicants for more budget plans as they make their decisions and not be afraid to postpone or delay projects when that material is not available. And about the CPA manager, regarding like how did they interact with the CPA manager? 33% said they had interacted 1 to 3 times, 50% said quarterly, and 16% said monthly. And the format of interaction, again, all of them were emails, and almost half said in-person meetings and phone calls. And then we asked to describe any other thing they wanted to report. And one said they work in City Hall, so pre-COVID communication was not an issue. And then how useful was the support of the CPA manager, and 57% said it was very helpful, 14% said somewhat, and 14 again in between, and 14 fairly useful. How can the CPA manager increase usefulness of support provided to the project implementers? And said the CPA manager needs to be more specific, needs to provide more specific feedback catered to the individual projects. Each project has different needs and questions, and only receiving generic answers to these questions is not helpful. Some questions are also time sensitive, so I think it's important that the CPA manager become more accessible or quicker to check emails and phone messages. It will also be helpful for the manager to remind recipients of funding when major milestones such as reporting or requests for extensions are coming up. Working through reporting requirements with the manager has been very helpful. Consider project review meetings with applicants within the first year. The other one is how quickly did you interact with the CPC in the last year? 57% said 2 to 3 times, 28% said once, and 14% said more than 3 times. We also asked the format of interaction with the CPC, and the majority said they had made presentations at the CPC's request. Some had participated in CPC sponsored events, one person actually, and some had attended CPC regular meetings or hearings, and 4 also presented to the CPC as part of their funding, I think. Yeah, so share any additional feedback you have for the CPC. See additional sheet for more comments. Here, comments here are unrelated to comments above regarding reporting. I think the CPC and Judith are doing a good job. Keep up the good work. However, communication at the meeting should be more clear. If the CPA manager and CPC chairperson reviewed the agenda together in advance of the CPC meetings, would your CPA funded project have gone forward if it had not received CPA funds? And the majority said no. Has your organization benefited from being part of the Somerville CPA program beyond receiving funds? And the majority said yes. The Then we asked them to describe state city benefits greatly from CPA. CPA program support has been very important in leveraging other sources of funding and giving credibility to the museum's projects to the public and potential funders. And we asked them additional ways in which the organizations could be supported by the CPA program. They said more funds for open space acquisition. It would be good if the CPA program would do more outreach about the program and what it entails at times of the year, not just focus on funding process. And yes, more funding for historic preservation. We asked whether they would be interested in CPA peer learning groups, and majority said no. And for those that checked yes, we asked the topics they'll be interested in, and they are saying, they said more big picture reviews for the CPA potential within the community, community outreach to non-community organizations, better understanding of CPC priorities, understanding the types of projects that other communities are funding and considering as appropriate. We also asked what the CPC could do for more outreach, said more outreach to friends group, send hard copy letters to boards of other community organizations and follow up with email. And we asked to share feedback on the program. They said keep up the good work, maintain a strong relationship with the city council. We asked organizations they represent, and 57% were for the city and 42% were community organizations. And yeah, so there was also the last comment to redevelop and thank you. So that's the kind of feedback we receive, which is very, very important. And based on this feedback, the CPC can advise, and we also take into consideration, from my part as the CPA manager, how to better do my work, how to improve, but also as the CPC, just look at ways in which we can also help, the applicants, the implementers, and the CPA program. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Judith. Does anyone have any questions on those questionnaires that were sent out to the applicants? I think this is just for information only. I don't think we're taking a vote on this, correct? Judith?
Sorry, yeah, you can just accept them.
Okay. So do we accept the results? Do we want to make a motion to accept the results of the application implementers surveys?
Sure, I'll make a
motion. I move to.
Okay. Sorry, Laura's making the motion and Tatiana's seconding it. All in
Sounds
favor?
good to me.
All right, anyone? All in favor? Anyone opposed? No one opposed. Winding down, the next item is schedule 2 minutes to have this conversation scheduled for Affordable Housing Trust FY 21 CPA request for proposal process. Judith, do you want to walk us through this? These are the dates. Looks like these are the dates of their process. I just want to say in the past, we've been trying to coincide their application process with our application process. So it seems like this is in line. Is this in line, Judith, with our process?
Yes, so there's been an improvement and it's in line, and the whole idea is to allow the trust to make additional requests for the flexible CPA fund. So we think that by the time the CPC is making decisions on awarding the different proposal will have also the one for affordable housing included.
All right, so this schedule looks as though they could also, as Heather was talking about, somebody that could be looking for affordable housing funds, also then be looking for CPC funds, given the time frame sync up more than what they have in the past.
Correct.
Anyone have any questions on the time frame? So I think we can move on to, is there any other business, any new business?
I think there's just one small administrative item. It's Judith shared with me. I don't know if she can put it up on the screen, but we did receive this year's invoice for our membership into the Community Preservation Coalition. It's for $4,350. I believe they're the invoices on the screen. We're not sure if we'll receive a subsequent invoice when we do our tax recap and get our final CPA allocation for the year. But for the time being, we'd like to go ahead and pay this and request your approval to pay.
Okay. So for the annual membership dues, does someone want to make a motion to pay this invoice to pay the Community Preservation Coalition membership dues of $4,350?
Out of the admin fund, yeah.
Out of the admin fund.
Yeah, this is Heather. I make a motion to approve the Community Preservation Coalition.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
I touched on it there. Yeah.
Is there any opposed? No opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. And up on the screen is for a potential intern. Is this another item to talk about?
Yes. So in FY17, the then CPA manager did engage an intern to do a monitoring and evaluation of the CPA projects and program. And one of the recommendations from that evaluation was that this process be carried out every 3 years. And because we do not have funds to pay for another consultant to do this, one of the recommendations was using the TAF UEP field project. So I wanted to request the committee that they give us a go-ahead to submit this project to TAF so that we can benefit from the services of the UEP master students. I believe if we are successful, then they will begin early next year. But it's very, very important because it helps us really with improving our program. Some of these things that we are doing right now, like outreach programs and the surveys, were a result of the monitoring and evaluation report. So I think it's a good way of helping us, improve. And for this, the only amount that would be required for the hosts, to make a contribution would be between $100 and $200 just for, some administrative expenses. So I felt this would be a very good opportunity, like we are having the summer youth helping us that are being supported by the mayor's program, so the CPA doesn't have to spend funds on this. So I'm requesting that you give a go-ahead for us to engage, to submit a project.
All right. It sounds like a great opportunity, but who will be the supervisor of this person
Yeah, so I will supervise this person, but
you
working.
would be supervised.
Yes, but working with Tufts, the group at Tufts.
And so you would develop the work plans for this intern?
Yes.
For the spring semester?
Yes.
Great. And so would the committee have a role in sort of what that work plan is for this person, just to see if there was interest that we have from what we wanted them to do?
Yes, of course. I will share with you whatever we develop that would submit. I'm not sure. I need to again get there's a deadline for submitting them. So as you know, Chair, next month we don't have a CPC meeting. So the next CPC meeting will be in September on the 24th. And during this time, I'll be working on this project. And I will share with you on email. And maybe I could get feedback on email. But we do not have a meeting next month.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we could at least definitely share an update at the next meeting, and in the interim, we'll pass along any plan we come up with.
Great. All right. Do we want to make a motion? Does anyone want to make a motion? Or are there any more questions about a potential Tufts intern for the spring semester? Does anyone want to make a motion to approve the staff for applying for this position and keeping us informed?
Sure, I would. It looks like a great opportunity. I agree with whoever said that earlier.
This is Heather, I second.
Great, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Tatiana? All right. I don't.
Sorry, yes, the audio is giving me problems. I had the microphone off and then, yeah, anyway, yes.
All right, so you're in favor. Any opposed? Nope. Great. That'll be a great help to you, Judith, and looking forward to having someone work with us. So is that it for business? Is there any other admin? That's it. So the next meeting is Wednesday, September 23rd at 6:30, and it'll be another go-to virtual meeting. And if there's no other business, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:41. I'm sorry, who?
I'll second it if no one has.
Sorry, who moved the motion?
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
I thought you did, but you can't, so I will.
No, right. Laura made the motion, and who seconds the motion?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Tatiana seconds, great. So meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed? Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.
Turned it at 41. Yay.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll see you in September.
Yes.